So, you think you know Dungeons& and Dragons? We're going to talk about how this, well, kind of nerdy hobby, born in a basement, didn't just get popular. Nope, it became a massive cultural force, a business titan even, that quietly shaped the world we live in today.
I love this quote from Dan Rawson over at Wizards of the Coast. The nerds emerged from the basement. It just nails it, right? That's the whole story in a nutshell. It's about an entire subculture moving from the fringes right into the mainstream spotlight.
And look, we're not talking about a small movement here. Today we're talking about over 54 million fans worldwide. To put that in perspective, that's more people than the entire population of Spain. It's a staggering number that shows you just how far this game has truly come.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did this happen? How does a game dreamed up in a Wisconsin basement go on to conquer the world? Well, I'll tell you this, it was not an accident. It all came down to a few, honestly, revolutionary ideas about game design, social interaction, and even business.
To really get it, we got to jump in a time machine. Go all the way back to 1973. You've got these two friends, Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. And they were obsessed with these really complicated tabletop war games, but they just felt like something was missing. So they decided to create something totally new.
And what they came up with was a fundamental break from the past. See, before D&D, games were mostly player versus player. Me against you, winner and a loser, game over. D&D just threw all that right out the window. Suddenly, it was cooperative, the story could literally go on forever, and the whole thing was powered by nothing but pure imagination.
And this brilliant shift really came down to two core concepts. First, you play together. You team up against the world, which is run by what co-creator Dave Arneson hilariously called a sadistic referee, the Dungeon Master. The second game changer was leveling up. Your character didn't just win or lose, they grew. They got stronger every single time you played. And that created this deeply satisfying, addictive loop where the story never had to end.
So, we know what was new about the game. But the real secret sauce, the magic, is in how it's played. It's not just about rules and dice, it's about a really unique social dynamic.
Game designers actually have a name for this. They call it the conversation. See, role-playing isn't like reading a script. It's a living dialogue between everyone at the table. The roles aren't there to control you. Instead, they just step in at key moments to add a little structure, a little surprise, to mediate the conversation.
So here's how this actually works. It's a simple but incredibly powerful cycle. First, the game master sets the scene. You see a crumbling tower on a hill. Then the players say what they want to do. Okay, I'm going to sneak up to the door. Step 3 is where the magic happens. The rules kick in, usually with the roll of the dice, to create a surprising turn. Do you make it, or does a guard spot you? And based on that outcome, the shared story changes for everyone, and the whole cycle just starts over. The story just emerges completely organically.
But look, a revolutionary game design isn't always enough to change the world. D&D's global success also depended on a totally radical and pretty risky business decision that almost never happened.
Let's fast forward to 1997. D&D was on the verge of dying out completely. Its original publisher, TSR, went bankrupt. But then it was saved, bought by Wizards of the Coast, the hot new company behind Magic the Gathering. A couple years later, the toy giant Hasbro bought them both, and all of that led to a huge moment in the year 2000, the release of D&D's 3rd edition, which came with something that would change everything, called the Open Gaming License. Now, the Open Gaming License, or OGL, was a genius move. It had two main goals. First, build an empire. By letting anyone out there create and sell their own D&D-compatible stuff, it unleashed this massive ecosystem of content that made D&D the default game for everyone. And second, it made the game immortal. The core rules were put under a license that couldn't be taken back. That meant that no matter what happened to Hasbro, the game itself could never be killed. It was brilliant. And here's where the story gets really, really big. Because these ideas, cooperative storytelling, leveling up, open source rules, they didn't stay on the tabletop. They escaped. They got out into the real world.
Just think about it for a second. That core D&D idea of gaining experience points to improve your character over time, well, that became the fundamental DNA of countless video games, from those massive online worlds all the way down to the RPGs on your phone. But the influence didn't stop with video games. This whole idea of applying game-like mechanics, points and leveling up, to things that are not games, well, that got a name. We call it gamification.
And I promise you this is everywhere. Every time you earn points on your credit card, achieve a new status with an airline, or get a stamp on a coffee shop punch card, you're experiencing the legacy of D&D. You're leveling up in the real world. We're all playing a game now, whether we know it or not.
So in the end, D&D's real legacy isn't about elves and wizards. It's a powerful model for collaborative imagination. It taught millions of people how to build shared worlds and tell amazing stories together. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. What other problems could we solve?